I remember 20 years ago I was standing in that courtroom.
Hey everybody, this is a Video Games and Nonsense podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chase Carter, and that's
Raymond Woods.
And this is a podcast where we talk about video games and things we've been doing lately. So Ray, what have you been playing or doing lately?
Same old. I watched Super Bowl, going to the gym.
Yeah, 'cause today is February 8th, so it's the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we're not huge football fans. We're not huge.
Yeah, I mean, I know like what the basics of football.
They got a ball. There's a field of grass.
I mean, I know, like certain penalties and stuff like that. I learned most of this stuff from you, but yeah, what I saw yesterday, it's funny too, because I know the Chiefs are really good. I know they're really good. And if I remember correctly, they had it was like a record of 16-2 this year or something like that, 15-2, 16-3 or something like that.
They play 17 total games. I know that.
And then yesterday they just
16 games, I think.
Yesterday
they had the worst game of the season.
Yeah, that's I get like every team had they have an off game, but that's like the worst time to have an off game.
yeah. When it comes, but that's what was interesting. People always discuss back and forth. So like, if what is it? They discuss back and forth if it's good to get your losses out of the way early.
Yeah.
Or go on a good run. Yeah. So the Tampa Bay had a rough November, and they lost a couple games. They looked like shit, and then they got it going near the playoffs, and then that's when they really clicked. And so there's always this debate: if you're an undefeated team, should you lose one or two? And the same thing happens in not even in football, but college sports, where there's a college basketball team has a winning streak, and they're like, should they lose before the NCAA tournament? I'm like, no, they shouldn't lose on purpose. That's not a good argument.
But yeah, and I'm so happy that they won though, because then it's just you see all these people. Oh my God, fuck Tom Brady, blah 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 blah. Like,
yeah, the Chiefs were 14-2.
Okay,
they play 16 games over 17 weeks. At least this season they did.
And then now, like, dude, there's so many people. Oh, because it's white privilege. Oh, he's a white man. Oh my God, I'm like, oh yes, it's great.
But I didn't hear anything about people say white privilege.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're talking like one, like I think her name was Nancy Amore or Armour or some shit like that. She wrote an article about apparently Tom Brady. He had an interview like a while ago, and he had like a red MAGA hat in his locker, and he doesn't really talk politics. And this fucking dumb bitch reporter or like article writer, I guess I'll just call her. She tried to say that his white privilege, he's just bleeding white privilege because he chooses not to talk about his political views. I'm like, oh my God, the gall. The fucking nerve of these people, dude. I'm like, this is insane. This is insanity.
Well, you're not allowed to like anything anymore.
God, man. I'm like
there's an article,
Nancy Amore or some shit.
The undefeated.com, the white privilege of Tom Brady not seeing race. And this was written April 9th, 2020. This is a different one. So this is Mackenzie Johnson.
This is another one. Yeah, I'm just like, what do you? So because he's good and he's very, very good at what he does, and he's white. That's why he has like. What about LeBron James? Well,
I don't think they're saying that because he's good because he's white, but just he's not allowed to like Trump because Tom Brady saw Trump as a friend and not as a politician. Then people say, well, that's because of your white privilege, and it's just all. It gets like, not everything is that. Not everything is because of that, but they lump everything in. So you're not allowed to like somebody. You're not allowed to separate the person and their politics anymore. It's this whole, you and your lifestyle have to be put into one box. And it's like, that's not people. People don't fit into one box ever. If gender is a spectrum and sexuality is a spectrum, then your political beliefs should be a spectrum as well.
That's where the hypocrisy is, man. That's where it is. It's or like, you know what it is? It's like you have these liberal, progressive, black people who say, like Maxine Waters, she's in Congress. She says that she agrees that white people have white privilege. I'm like, okay. But then she'll also turn and say, white people can't say anything about what black people go through because they're not black. But she's turning around saying that white people have white privilege because we're white, but she's not white. So she's allowed to say.
Well, exactly. You're not allowed to speak for anybody, but like you telling somebody else that, hey, you can't speak about my experiences, but then you're speaking about their experiences is very hypocritical
I'm just like,
to anything. It's like you can say,
okay.
hey, this looks suspicious to me, or what have you. It's like there's one or two black head coaches in the NFL. Does that mean that there's racism going on? I have no idea. Or do you hire the people around you? There's that theory. There's a theory, but then that theory doesn't make any sense. There was a what was it? I was watching the Super Bowl with some friends of mine, and one of the girls was talking about one of the women. No, she's not a girl. She's a woman. No, she was talking about who was it? There's a the first like general manager of a major league sports is a baseball team, and she's female. It's for the Marlins, and she was like she had to work 3 or 4 times as hard to be hired, and I'm like, by whose measurement? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
just because I was like,
no.
You think a sports team cares because like it was like the first female referee in the game, and they didn't overly show her, which was nice. At least I didn't get that. They didn't make a huge deal out of it. They're just like, hey, this lady, this person, it's the first female ref ever in the Super Bowl. Cool. Does she do her job well?
There it is. Fucking Jesus Christ.
That's all that
she
it
does
is.
her job well. I don't care.
I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. And then they made the argument was like, well, if she messed up, they would get she would get overly criticized more because she's a woman. And I'm like, no, she wouldn't. She would be criticized just like all of the refs in the history of sports who've been criticized for not doing their job correctly. Just because if you mess up at your job, say if you make a mistake, God forbid you're a woman and you make a mistake, God forbid, and people criticize you, it's not because you're a woman. It's because you made a mistake. Oh, and we got into not like a huge discussion or whatever, or an argument or a back and forth, but I'm like, no one cares. Nobody cares. They thought there would be this stigma.
Promise you.
There's a whole bunch of weird like stigmatism that people put on. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like, NBA players will never listen to a coach that hasn't played before, hasn't played the actual game before. There's tons of coaches that haven't played for, and people, the players listen to them because they know what they're talking about. Then it goes, well, a woman would never get hired as an assistant coach because the players wouldn't respect her enough. It's a boys club. It's a boys club. And then the San Antonio Spurs hire Becky Hammond, and all the players love her and call her coach and listen to her because she knows her shit. So it's like
people who say these things like, oh well, if she would have make a mistake, she'd be criticized more. Because she's a woman, they're repeating what someone else has said. That's all they're doing. They hear it and they hear it and then they don't question it. They just hear it and they're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Well, because I don't know how that makes sense, but
at first, if you listen to it, it makes sense in your head. You're like, oh, like misogynistic pigs will obviously make fun of women, but that's not the level, that's not the demographic we're talking about. Like you're gonna get made fun of for being bald. I'm gonna get made fun of because I have a lisp and sometimes I spit. Like there's gonna be things that people get criticized about, regardless, or whatever, and that's fine. And white people are getting criticized, like in the whole general. They're getting like they're the reason that everything's terrible, kind of from the extremists, and we just have to, and we can't take that as that offensive either, because okay, you're gonna criticize us, saying that it's all terrible, everything is terrible because us, and we just have to be like, okay, fine, but that's not really us. Like you're wrong. I don't think they're the majority, but I think it's a loud minority that is putting forth this I don't know, narrative or.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, there are. I would say there are more progressives in Congress right now than there are, more conservative type.
Yeah, but I would say moderate, because I'm hearing a lot of moderate Democrats not agreeing with other Democrats at all. And they're just like, I'm
Well,
watching
yeah, of
I'm watching
course.
that show The Hill on YouTube, and they're talking about all these different moderates that aren't going to agree with the extreme left Democrats on
Well,
certain
have you
bills.
ever noticed that that most people never really hear about those Democrats?
Well, because they don't
Notice that?
stand out. You don't hear about people who make sense because they're not exciting.
And
You,
have you know? Well, yeah, of course. Have you noticed that like people like AOC, well, I'll say this: the more progressives, more progressive Congress men and women are more celebrity type. Have you ever noticed that?
oh
AOC was
yeah.
on one of on the cover of one of these magazines. Kamala Harris, all the the other white old dude who's
Well,
fucking
usually like a popular
old and
elected
crusty.
official will, like I can see president, but like people like AOC, I don't know. It's like if it's funny, did you see her like say she was in the Capitol building and then she wasn't in the Capitol building? Have you seen that? You haven't
Yeah.
seen that? Oh, I thought
No,
you'd
no,
be all
no.
over it.
I'm saying I have seen it. I'm just like, yeah,
Oh, shaking your head. No. Oh, okay. And I'm just
she's
like, and then I heard about some.
she
I don't know.
does, man.
I don't know if it's true, but there's a like I guess a picture of her, and I didn't look into it, but allegedly there's a picture of her at like the border crying, and it's like she's on a fence, but then they changed the camera angle. Like there's pictures of what she was crying at, and there's nothing there. There's nothing. She just wanted like an Instagram. I don't know if that's true, but if that's
I
true,
honestly no,
that
it
is
probably is.
I
It
don't well,
probably is.
I don't care. I'm not gonna ever care or vote for anything like it's not going to affect me.
I know that, but it's just you
If
just
she
know you're
says
like
something that makes sense, fine. There's like, oh, we're for families. I'm like, I'm for families, but we have to completely open borders. And I'm like, are you saying open borders because you want like one thing to go through and like your negotiation tactic is starting here and you just want one thing to change? Like, because that's what it is. That's what like Bernie Sanders released all of these things that he wanted to go into the stimulus bill. And he knew like the, again, the people on the Hill or whatever, they were like, yeah, this is not, he knows he's not going to get all this. This is where you start in a negotiation. So they start at these extremes and then they wind up somewhere in the middle. And it's an interesting tactic to have, but I don't know. It's fun to watch from the outside because you see how full of shit people are on both sides. And then the middle, like
you're just like
I'm just
like Mitch McConnell. He was all for Trump, and Trump, the dude lost, and they're still trying to impeach him. I'm like, what? What are you so afraid of? Like, what?
they're afraid of him coming back.
He
You
lost.
don't think, but that's okay. First of all, trying to get him impeached is a smart tactic. If you're trying not to get, he is the bad guy. He's the guy they don't understand. He's the guy that gets all of these millions of people.
Dude, don't matter, man. They've got his daughter and his son, like both of his sons. I think he's got, or what? Well, I don't know how many kids. I forget how many kids he has. But like, if Donald Trump Jr. runs, like he has the potential. Well, I mean, me personally,
No. I don't think people are going to vote for his son just because it's his son. I think people who are for Trump are for Trump, and they like him for whatever reason. They like him.
Well, we know the reasons. He's just outspoken. He doesn't speak like a fucking fake ass bullshit politician.
Well, I mean, no, he speaks as a fake ass businessman because he does do a lot of, oh, we're the greatest, we're the black. Don't pay. Oh, look at this over here when he's really doing some dealings over here. Like that's the vibe I get from him. And the few things I didn't like were when he downplayed. There was a former president. He got caught. He served in battle. He got caught, and then he insulted him.
What, McCain?
Yeah, McCain. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, you got caught," but whatever. And like this, I was like, "You don't do that. That's not something." I was like, "That is one of the most unpresidential things you've ever done." I was like, "That I've seen anyway." That's one of the things I've saw. When they haven't twisted his words, but that wasn't a huge deal, and that should have been a huge deal. There was something else. When he didn't show up to the inauguration, I thought that was a sore loser move. And to me, he came off as this not a sore loser. I'm a winner. I'm a man. Blah, whatever. And then you didn't show up because you lost. It's like winning a game, like playing basketball or football. And then Mahomes and Tom Brady, they don't come together and shake hands like, hey, good game. They just leave. And I'm like, I don't care if it was rigged. I don't care. You lost.
No.
Go shake your hand. No. You go shake their hand. You go, no. Because it's not about you anymore. It's about the if hypothetically, if the whole thing was rigged and blah, blah,
That's not what I'm going to say at all.
Even though Republicans have won elections, which that means it's not rigged, but it's rigged for both parties. I think. I think it's rigged that both of those parties are trying to keep power, obviously. But it's interesting how crap. I lost my train of thought. But if it was rigged, you still go up there for the country. You're supposed to be for the country, right? Regardless, unless you think Biden is a dictator and is going to kill millions of people, which he's not going to do. He's not going to do that. Then you go shake his hand. You're like, okay, you cheated, fair. We'll get you in 4 years. We'll get you. Congratulations. You move on. You make it as peaceful as possible so no crazy shit happens. Because overall, the country's well-being is greater than your own personal political views.
I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But think about this. Imagine being in Trump's shoes and for 4 years, half the country, every single thing that you said and did, they twisted and lied about. Every single thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'm not going. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, see, I'm sorry. That's where you and I differ as far as
I'm not gonna. Joe Biden, he lied constantly about.
Both sides.
This was the worst. This is of course, but no president has gone through what Trump did. You can't.
Well, yeah, because he's so. Hate that word. But he's so polarizing. But he does that on purpose. Because he likes attention. He's on reality shows. He likes his business.
That's just how he is. That's just who he is.
If you're like that, then you can't blame people for hating you because certain people hate that kind of.
That's fine. Okay, fine. Attitude. Hate him. Okay, fine. Hate him. But don't.
I don't know why
lie.
people hate a politician. Yeah. Don't lie about it for sure. Don't lie.
Don't lie and twist his words. I mean, they said the worst possible things you could say about someone.
Well, they called him Hitler. They called him a racist, and I'm like, this guy was in how many hip hop videos in the 80s and 90s? Like people like
celebrities.
If he hates black people or minorities, why is he associating with them? He's the worst racist ever.
And they try to say that he incited violence. Then you have Snoop Dogg making a video of basically shooting the president in the head. There was a skit, I can't remember on what it was, of literally killing Donald Trump. Madonna said, "I have thought awfully a lot about blowing up the White House." Johnny Depp said, "When's the last time a celebrity assassinated president?"
But no, they want to be liked. They want to work.
That's inciting violence. It doesn't matter. It's inciting violence. That right there is.
Well, 100%. 100%.
So I'm not.
He's not getting impeached. He's not getting.
Well, I know they're already.
There's no grounds for it. There's none.
That's fine, but it's just.
Then politicians can't use the word fight. They can't use the term battleground state. They can't say fight, stand up. Show your strength. These are all political terms. All political terms that they've used since the beginning of government. Not even in our country. And then
now.
Violence. And then they leave out the peacefully. They always leave out the lawfully and peacefully part of that speech.
Well, yeah, of course. And then now, like Stephen Colbert, first when Trump was president, he was these businesses, man, they got to shut down for COVID. They got to follow these guidelines, blah blah blah. Now President Biden. Now he's for small businesses. Oh, okay. Of course you are. Now you are. Oh, yeah. Sure.
It's so blatant that But what's good is when these kind of extreme things happen, these extreme waves, you see people's true color. So whether I can't remember the right word, but when you're placating to someone's beliefs to say, oh look, when they post when a white person posts a black square in solidarity and they don't have any black friends, it's like
or they don't you want to really help black people. You haven't had what? Huh? Go help in the communities. For instance, I think it was Baltimore. There was some sort of I think it was Christian group or whatever, conservative group. They went and literally started cleaning up the streets, certain areas in Baltimore. Immediately they were attacked for lied about all this, all that, because that actually helps. The media went nuts. I think it was in I want to say 2018. I can't remember, but I'm watching this. I'm like, this is actually insanity. Like I'm pretty sure it was because Baltimore, I mean,
Well, that's a crime-ridden city.
Baltimore,
That's one of
Detroit,
the, yeah.
Chicago.
I watched the first season of The Wire. I know what happens. Corey
And
tells me about it.
Who they run by? Who they been run by for 30 plus years? Literally not one thing has changed.
Well, it's just, yeah, but that's what's interesting is like these like when they well, I watched some Larry, I can't remember his name, but
Larry Elder?
Yeah, Larry Elder. He was talking about how people are saying that the police are corrupt against of like minorities and all this other stuff, and he goes over like the whole like the systemic racism. He's like, well, let's look at the system, and he looked at the system. It's like the police chief is black, the district attorney's black. There's all these people in like it's like I think it was like 60 to 70% of the police force was black, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was all white people.
I know. So like, dude, all you got to do is just do a little bit of research, and you're like, wow, okay,
yeah,
okay, so that can't be.
Well, yeah, because I didn't like go confirm all of this stuff, but like all these people who I see on TV representing Chicago, Baltimore, they're all black. And so I'm like, are these people like just spokespeople? I don't know. Are these people just spokespeople? Or are they people in power? Are there people in power that have? So what is this racism we're talking about? What is this inequality when all of the people in power in those areas are the people that you say are being discriminated against? That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if everybody was white, then yes, you have an argument. Yes, you could, but it's not. So let's back up. You can try to come at it at a different angle. If discrimination is your argument, you got to come at it at a different angle. If the Asians want to do it, if the Asians, Filipino, there's not a lot of those people in power. So if they want to come at it, they can do it.
Well, and someone, I can't remember, there's been a couple people who said it, what goes on, how the Democrats do it, how they get, the majority of Chicago and all that, all those cities to vote Democrat again is it's a modern day slavery. They say, hey, we'll keep giving you welfare. We'll keep giving you food stamps. Just vote for us again. Just vote for us. That right there, that keeps them in that victim mentality.
It was weird. I agree with you because it's weird that they ran on the $1,400 checks. I thought it was weird that politicians can say, vote for us. We'll give you money in exchange. I thought that was weird. In Georgia,
Andrew Yang, $1,000 a month. I'm like,
yeah, like maybe as president, you can kind of like you can say what was it, universal income kind of thing. Even it's not universal; it's within our country, but like universal basic income. But that's I think is different because you're giving it to everybody. But certain states, the senators or whatever were running like in what was it? I can't remember the state, but sort of not Alabama,
Illinois.
I can't remember. It was the one that turned everything. It was like the last one. It doesn't matter. But anyways, they were running.
No,
I think it might have been Pennsylvania. I'm not too sure. I'm not educated in all this. But it was interesting that they were running. Vote for us. We'll send out the $1,400, $2,000 checks immediately. And I'm like, what? Huh? What? Immediately is what for you? Because immediately in people's households that are losing their places because you won't let them work is now. Is
right now.
All the executive orders that got put in place. Now, should you iron it out? Should someone making $50,000 a year still get stimulus checks? In my eyes, no, you're fine. The money should go to people who have nothing. Like you can survive off $50,000 a year. I don't know what, but then I think where's the cutoff? Should everybody get it? And then just like everybody get it and then just tax the people that have more?
Well, that's the
later
thing.
And get the money back that way. I don't know.
That's the whole problem with these Democrats, man. That like for instance, I can't remember her name, but Joe Biden's press secretary, she was pushed on. I saw videos like a day or two ago. She was pushed on. Apparently Joe Biden and someone else had said that the cancellation of the pipeline and all those people's jobs gone away. Joe Biden is going to have his plan for the climate change jobs, and it's going to create thousands of jobs. All this stuff. He's like, well, when is that going to happen? What are the plans of that? What's going on? And she literally gave absolutely no details whatsoever. She's just like, I mean, he has a plan. Yeah, it's also
But that's
gonna create thousands of jobs, and it's gonna help the climate. Okay, hello, like what the like these
that's
people are out of work. What
but
are you
that
like?
sounds.
Hello?
But to be honest, that sounds like something Trump would say. We got good people working on it. We got the best people. It's gonna be the best. We got a plan. We'll take care of you. Don't worry
But
about it.
he actually did bring back jobs. He actually did that.
Well,
That was
the economy was good. Well, at least the stock market was good. But now the stock market's going up again. And
But no, see,
Democrats
that's the
are.
thing.
But I don't.
That's the thing. The thing about Trump is what a lot of people what they try to say, and they lie about. He was only for big business. No, no. Why do you think he got half the country's vote? Because he was for small businesses. That's what the big thing was, is for small businesses, and that's why the economy was doing so well. Is because small businesses and big business, they were doing so well. It all but you hear so much. It's so hard to find the actual truth because you have big media, you have
Yeah,
celebrities, you have
because both sides are like, because it's a weird argument because I like as far as big businesses not being taxed or to a certain extent, like what is the amount of taxes to where it inhibits you from doing good business? So then you don't hire somebody else. So somebody doesn't get a job because you're being taxed so much. Like what is the threshold exactly to that? And I don't know. I'm not an economist. I'm not a business major, so I don't understand that. But I know if the business is for making money, as much money as possible, then they will, and they have to pay people more and more money. Then either the business model will change, so that business will
yeah,
go out, or they'll just hire less people, and one person will have to do the job of two people.
or they hire machines.
Yeah, yeah, but then you still have people working on those machines, so you still have a job. Like machines
Well,
don't
you get what I'm saying,
go
though.
out there and fix themselves. Yeah,
It's
but
you.
that's an
You
argument
still.
that I don't like them using. Republicans are like, oh, machines are gonna, you know, like people like jobs. The job market fluctuates and changes, like all obviously all the time. Different jobs are in higher demand, and then people fill that demand, and then it comes down, and then some other new job happens, and then it skyrockets. So I mean, things fluctuate in and out.
Well, if they were to put those machines, say like McDonald's, if all minimum wage went up to $15 an hour, then McDonald's, people would lose their jobs. There would if they have mostly automated systems, there are going to be people who are losing their jobs. Yeah, of course, there are going to be people working on those machines, but you could have one, maybe two people working on those machines. You don't need seven different people working on seven different machines.
I know,
So
but if
people are.
something, but my argument is if something is bloated like that, and you don't need those people to have jobs. Like as a business person, I'm
No,
gonna,
yeah, of course,
it's
but
gonna
you
be,
also have to save money. Like it has to, obviously, we know it has to balance it out. You got to make money, but you also have to have enough money so the workers who are doing their job are making the business money.
yeah. But then people, I
And
think, and then people are people is the I think the market speaks. I think if you will usually, I think if you have this automated service and people don't like it and they want that human to human contact, I think right now in COVID, the mass majority of people, there's extremes. There's people on the left, let's say, who don't want everything will be automated. That's fine. I'm going to get Uber Eats and you're going to drop it off. You're not even going to you're not even going to knock my front door and let me know. I want a text message. I don't want you even near my
everyone's
place.
afraid of everything.
But then there's other people that want that human to human contact
Yeah.
and want to go out. So you're going to have,
Well, of course,
market
of
for
course.
both. So is it so terrible that certain places are like high-end restaurants that didn't do to-go orders, that they're getting their shit together and serving more people? They're going to make more money,
Hmm.
but they're also losing money. But like if they can open like they did before, but then also have this other business now, they're making more, at least in my head, I'm thinking that way.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. If they had automated machines, you don't have to pay those automated machines every week or every 2 weeks. You pay a one lump sum, and then you have them there, and that's it. You might have to pay to have them maybe upgraded or fixed, but that's it.
Yeah, but like,
It's,
is that the argument? Like, say, like people like used to wash stuff by hand, and then the washing machine came in, or people be or whatever. But you're still going to need someone to do the cleaning. You're still going to need some kind of
we still
human.
have with the dishwasher. It's because an automated that's different. That's different because with a dishwasher you still have to have people rinsing the dishes. You can't just stick it in a dishwasher and then that's it. You still have to it's a machine, but it's manually. It still has to have that human element. For machines, automated machines like that, you just have someone pressing on it and it works by itself for the most part. You might have to have mechanics come in. But I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But what I want to do, because we didn't do this last time, I want to kind of transition over to video game. Okay, I want to get your take on Control and your
Control.
opinion of
Okay.
it.
Well, I stayed away from reviews and videos about it. I didn't want to know anyone else's take on it.
Sure.
I know you're a huge. Besides you and my ear, Control. I played it. I like it. I like it a lot. I enjoy action and then story. Action and then slow down.
And then have the story element
and then
of
story. Yeah, slow down story. I honestly don't care, like not about this, but in the video game just in general, if the story's halfway decent, I like that pace. I like slowing down, taking in the scenery, looking at stuff. I like that. If there's actual stuff there to look at, which in Control there's all those different logs you can see, they're redacted. So you're like, are they gonna? Am I gonna find an unredacted? Like, what are these things that's missing?
What is missing here?
Yeah, why? But that intrigues me as a player. And some people will just skim. Most players will just skim through that and not, I'm guessing, read those things. I like. At first, I didn't like the visual logs because they're real people.
Yeah.
And you have that.
I get what you're saying.
The distortion, not the distortion, but I can't remember. I'm not even
the difference.
The difference, yeah, between like I'm in a game world, I see a video game world, and then I see a real person, and that kind of like, whoa. It's the same thing with what was it, Quantum Break? They had that TV show, Quantum Break. Is it Quantum Break?
Quantum Break is made by Remedy.
Yeah, I think it was Quantum Break. They had the TV show connected.
Yeah.
To the video game. And then depending on what you did, you got a different version of the TV show, which is an interesting idea. But then in practice, I'm like, I don't want to play a game for an hour or two and then watch 30 minutes of a TV show. Like I had to just put little cutscenes in and then I'll be fine. Just like a normal video game. But don't make the cutscenes very long because I'm going to lose interest.
Yeah.
I don't want, as a video game, I want to interact with it. I don't want to sit there. If I want to watch a movie, I'll go watch a movie. Like if you want to have like a big ending, maybe you can do it. I don't know. That's just my personal preference in a video game. But I like it. I enjoyed it. It runs good. After playing it for a few hours and getting at least my take on it, I looked at the headlines of articles. And I guess when it came out, there's a whole bunch of frame rate issues because all the physics. And I'm like, I was like, that makes sense. I couldn't play that on Xbox. There's no way. There's no way that.
Well, that's kind of weird because when I played it on Xbox One. I think I played it on Xbox One before. I think it was just a regular Xbox. I can't remember honestly. It could have been what, but maybe I didn't really have any frame rate drops, which is kind of strange. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe they patched it, but these were old articles. I don't know if it was at first.
Because I played it I played it day one when that game came out. I saw like, and it was funny too because I saw Control one time and I saw just like the telekinesis, the telekinetic abilities that you get. And I was like, oh, that looks really fucking cool. And then I forgot about the game for like 2 months. And then I started getting I was like, oh, so this is going to be and then when it came out.
I saw when the game was coming out, I accidentally saw a little bit more of a trailer than I meant to. And I saw her her levitating. And then I was like, you can fly in the game? And then so I'm just sitting here waiting. I haven't even got to that point yet. I haven't been playing it as much because I got like a game capture card thing and I'm streaming. I'm trying to figure out the difference between streaming and then the layouts, which I got too involved in the layouts. I just like editing pictures and like I don't know. It's a rabbit hole I went down for 2 days. So I made a Sea of Thieves one that took me a day and a half, and then I sent you the Assassin's Creed one. Yeah. And so I'm like, does this even matter? But like, it's fun for me to like mess around in in Photoshop or whatever. I like doing that. And so, but Control is good. I love The shooting I had to slow down the aim reticle a little bit because it's too quick. I need a more smooth control aim mechanism. And then I love how in the telekinesis you don't have to completely bring the item
Pull
back.
it back. You could just kind of lift it and then.
Yeah, you could lift it and let it go real quick, and it just sends it wherever it is. And I enjoy that if there's an enemy between you and the object and you pull it, it does damage, smacking it in the back. Yeah. And I'm okay. So you guys have thought, at least for this thing, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, and then I enjoy that you're looking in the room because you can almost grab anything in the world.
Just about everything. Yeah.
And the different. I love when video games do this is that you're going through the world and you see it as an interactive thing. You're interacting with papers on a desk. You see chairs, you see gas canisters or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can shoot that because I have a gun. You can whatever, and then you get a power, and then all of those items that you were walking around for a few hours now become weapons. Mm-hmm. So it changes the way you look at your environment. I love that. I love when games do that because I didn't. In the back of my head, I didn't watch too much of the trailer, and I completely forgot about the telekinesis. So now I'm like, the game was way better for that I didn't know you could grab everything. But the game's good. The game's good. I did some of the puzzles need to be explained instead, but I don't know if they're going for just experiment and see what happens type of thing. But like the light where you had to click it 3 times. I was trying to remember.
No, so it actually there's a sign. It says the law of 3 applies.
Oh, okay. I missed. Yeah,
I know there's a sign. I forgot to tell you. I forgot because I was watching you play and I was like, and I forgot that there was a sign right there. And then I started playing. I was like, oh, that's right. I saw the sign. It was the law of 3. It'll give a little explanation, and then it says the law of 3 applies here, and then click. And
okay.
Then
I missed it because in my head when you told me I was stuck for but you kind of ruined the game because you're helping me too much, and I want to experience it to where I'm frustrated, but you also want to see me get through the level to see what I think of the next thing or whatever. So it was kind of fun.
Well, no, and also another thing too is because there are some puzzles where I'm like, the first time I played, I was like, I have to look this up. I have to look this up. And I know, like sometimes
after
it can
5
be
or
kind
10
of
minutes,
frustrating.
after
I'm
5,
like,
10, 20 minutes, I'm like, I want to have fun playing this game. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
What's cool about what am I missing? Because unless it's something obvious and like you walk into a room and there's a desk and there's a note on it that has just whatever.
So let me ask you this: would you say the game is eerie? Like it's not. There's really no jump scares, but it's just like for me, I get a odd feeling. I'm like, oh man,
it builds tension in these weird ways because those people float that are just floating there.
And you just hear those and sometimes they get violent. The sounds, the voices. You're like.
They're
Jesus
suspended
Christ.
in midair, and you're just, and then you think, because you and Dillon were on the stream, and they were like, "Shoot him!" I'm not shooting. Like,
no. See, I have a little story about that.
Well, yeah, because because later they come alive, but I don't know if they respawn. Like at certain instances, that's just but I'm not too sure. But if you shoot all of them, then there's no enemies in the whole game. I don't think that's how it works.
So all right. So it's about Dillon. I don't know if he probably not gonna watch this anyways, but
it's about Dillon.
So he started playing the game again because at first he was like, dude, this game when a game first because we're game sharing when the game first came out, he was like, dude, this game's awesome. Okay. But sometimes Dillon doesn't like to pay attention to the story, which is really fucking annoying. And that goes for anyone.
The way
anyone who
he ran through Borderlands when I played with him once.
Well, yeah,
I will always remember, and I will never let him forget that. I was like, yeah, I want to experience Borderlands like a co-op. And he's like, run here, talk to this person, get through the dialogue, and then we're going to come over here, get this gun. And then I'm like, to me, that's not how I play games.
Well, yeah,
granted, it was
that's
the
just because
time he played through that.
Yeah, so that I understand. Yeah. But when it came to Control, he just stopped. I was invested in the game. Like I played the game until
You're invested like you made it and have stock options in Remedy.
Dude, I'm just saying, man, that's the same thing with God of War. The same thing with Horizon Zero Dawn, man. Okay,
and Battlefield.
That's what I'm saying. And Battlefield. Okay,
did you see that building get destroyed?
Is it
in the
new?
video game? I don't know. I saw some. I don't know if it's.
I know that I saw some. There was like a tech demo, kind
Of,
of.
like,
It was like a very
completely
small, like a
skyscrapers.
building, like completely. I was like, but I'll look it up. But
Is that
hold on.
real?
Let me. I don't want to
I
get
don't know
off.
if that
I
was
know.
real.
I'll have to. I'll look it up. I'll try to confirm it. But so Dillon. So he first started playing it, and then he just stopped kind of playing it, and then I asked him, I was like, hey, how like controller, you still playing? He's like, no, I stopped, and I'm like, okay, well, I was like, you like it though, right? He's like, yeah, because I want
You
that.
guys
I want
play
to
so
have
many games. You can't get upset at him that he stopped playing it.
Well, no,
because you
it's
play
not that. That's
so
fine,
many
but
games.
it's just when I play a game that's really really good and I have no one else to talk to about it, that gets that I like
I
because
understand.
I'm a talkative person.
You're
I'm like,
trying to, but like you get a little aggressive. You get a little aggressive.
that is all right. That is okay.
I accept
Because
it. That's fine.
no one fucking listens to me. And like I said, I
listen,
haven't.
I play Battlefield. I used to play
No,
Battlefield. I
I
don't
know
play it
that's
anymore. But I
but I'm
switched
just
over. I never played Battlefield until you started
because
talking
it's
about it.
because
I would never have played that game.
it's one of those because it's an experience like Control, God of War. If you like storyline games, if you like campaign games, you have to play those games.
But
Like my buddy Kyle,
nobody leaves him alone when he's playing games, so he
well,
can't get immersed into the. Every
I know.
every time I play Battlefield with him,
Mhm.
people are yelling at him in the background, and I can't. I'm like, it bothers, like, not annoys me, but it gets me out of what we're playing in Battlefield.
Yeah, well, of course, and that's another
Completely
reason why he
fair.
plays later at night. Even though his mom
And so
stays
I'm
up
just
till like
like,
2 or 3 in the morning.
he
But
can be he can like skip story based games for me. I'm like, okay, fine.
this is my problem.
He's not in a good environment for that.
This is the problem that I had.
You have a lot more than one problem, but continue.
So he told me, he was like, hey man, he's like, he told me one day, like this was like last month or something like that, at the beginning. I can't remember.
That he's
It was like a Thursday. It was like a Thursday or Friday. He's like, hey man, Monday I'm gonna start streaming Control again. He's like, I want to keep playing the game. He said that it was like after you first started streaming, he said that he was watching you play. He's like, yeah man, he made it look like a lot of fun. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll watch you play it and all that. So he goes in, and to get a refresher of everything, he literally read all the documents that he had, watched all the videos that he had, listened to all the hotline, all of it. And I was like, I didn't expect him to do that. I was like, oh wow, okay, so he is actually interested. And then like he played for like a day.
That might have burned him out on the game. Just sitting in the menus for 2 hours reading all that.
Well, no, but he still played the game, and then he played it for like an hour, and then he went and played
Fortnite.
Ark. No, he went and played Ark.
Corey looked at Ark because it's on Game Pass, and she's like, "What's that?"
I mean, it's
fun.
It's a cool game.
It's a good game, but I'm like, I'm not getting into another shared. I play Sea of Thieves with you. I'm not getting into another shared world.
I don't know,
adventure thing.
I don't know. Just playing it's because it's a survival game, and you play it so much over and over and over. Me, I'm like, I can't do that. I just can't do it anymore. Anyways, but he played that for like 5 hours. I'm like, but okay. And then after he was playing like Dead by Daylight, and in my opinion, that game, he was playing that with Ricky, and you can play with friends. That's fine. It's a co-op game. I don't know. Like I can't really. Maybe I have to try it out. But I watched that game. I'm like, this game looks boring as fuck. Like I'm watching. I'm like, I could be playing. Like I don't know. It's just me. It could just be me. Like I said, But and then I asked Dillon about it, and he said, quote unquote, I don't know, man. I have to be in the mood for that game, for Control. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? How do you have to be in the mood for something like that? That doesn't make any sense. It's a normal campaign-driven game. You have to be in the mood for it? What the fuck does that mean? Like, people have to be in the mood for a BR game. That, I can understand. I have to be in the mood for a BR game. I have to be in the mood for a game like Escape from Tarkov. Because those games are actually different. Those games, Escape from Tarkov has hyper-realism. Like, that game is mostly frustrating. Fucking BRs, those games are mostly frustrating. Like, no, you can't be, it's not, but what I think it is, and I think he just won't admit this, and if he ever watches this, I'm pretty sure this is true. The game, like how you and I agreed that the game does give you weird feelings, and it is pretty eerie.
You think he's scared of the game?
I think so. I think Dillon is very prideful. As long as I know Dillon, he's very prideful.
Well,
and even if he watches this video, he's going to say, no, I'm not, it's not scary. It's not scary. Then why not play the game? That doesn't make any sense. He plays Ghost of Tsushima perfectly fine. No. He plays Ghost of Tsushima, no problem. Played God of War, beat it. Played Horizon Zero Dawn, perfectly fine. This is a great fan. This game is nearly perfect. There are some glitches. Okay, there's there's a really annoying map glitch.
Just in every game.
But it's mostly perfect. And there's really no other reason other than that for him to not play the game. Especially if he loves campaign games. He still has to beat Ghost of Tsushima. That's fine. But he beat God of War. Absolutely loved it. Beat Horizon Zero Dawn. Absolutely loved it. So there's no reason. It's just like
he just wants to bother you. He knows it bothers you.
No,
that's what part when you go off on a game.
No, he doesn't.
You and Dillon are trying to get me to play a co-op game, and I'm just no.
Yeah, you do that, but he doesn't do that. But that's what I'm saying. When he said he has to be in the mood, motherfucker, you spent 30 minutes catching up on on everything, reading everything. No, there's no. Like okay, fine. But when he did that, reading all of it because it's very intriguing, then you don't have to be in the mood to play it. You can't sit there and read documents and watch videos for 30 minutes straight. And that's literally all he did. Like, I got bored. I'm like, okay, he's reading that. That's fine. I'll let him read it. You can't do that and then say you have to get in the mood to play the game. What?
He was in the mood then, and then he switched. He switches moods. It's okay that he switches moods. And that game is I don't like playing that game. I like playing it at night because I want to be in that immersed in that. Where I don't want any.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want any outside because like my glare on the screen. I don't want any of that. I want like this perfect little. I want to be in a completely dark room.
Well, and especially too because I would say Control has the best facial recognition movement, whatever, when you're interacting in any video game. So
I
far.
don't know about any video game, but it's good. I haven't seen anything. The Assassin's Creed. Oh my God, it's so terrible. When they have
when you go to Control and then you go to Assassin's Creed, you see they're like.
They do this weird movement with the hands when he's talking that doesn't do. It's not supposed because I thought that people how those things were made. I guess in the game is that AI, the lip sync and everything. The AI listens to it and it fixes itself. It does it itself. I thought somebody had spoke those words and had motion cap, but that's only for really nice cinematic cutscenes. The rest, because there's low-level cutscenes where you can move the camera around, or you can move that around. You have that, and then there's medium-level cutscenes where they shoot back and forth from the back of someone's head to the other side of the back of someone's head. They do that, and then they have the actual cinematic cutscenes, which I asked you about.
Those are good. Those are actual.
Those are amazing. Those are amazing. When
that's another thing that.
And but that takes you out when you have those levels.
Yeah.
The difference. It's just like in Control with at first the video of the real people, and then you go to this video game world. I'm like, well, those aren't the same thing.
I kind of like that. I kind of like the videos.
I get it. I understand it, but for me, it pulled me out at first. But I got used to it. But I don't think I'll ever get used to the Assassin's Creed where they're talking and they're making gestures as if they're not saying those words. I think that's just the game is so big. I've spent over 100 hours playing that game. And there was one really cool, there's things about this game I love. Well, most of it I love. It's one of my favorite games, I think. But I think it's one of my favorite games is because the way I'm playing it, I'm making the game kind of my own thing as far as in order to fast travel, I have to go to my horse to fast travel to certain areas. I have to go to my horse. If I want to use the boat, I have to call my longship in first, get on it, then I can fast travel to the anchor spots, little sea posts, things. I'm making my own rules for this game for it not to be like if it gets cold and starts snowing, I put my hood up.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. Sorry.
What?
Go ahead. Okay. Another thing, probably one of the smartest fucking ideas I've ever fucking heard is in Control. They explain why you're able to fast travel, why Jesse Faden is able to fast travel. And it's, if I remember correctly, it has to do with her abilities. That's just another ability she has. She's able to go from fast travel from place to place. But they actually talk about it. Like her and Emily, they actually talk about it. She's like, oh, maybe that's why I'm able to transfer from one spot to one control point to another. I was like, oh my God.
It makes sense,
integrate it into the story, and I'm like, that's a fucking genius.
because I don't want to grab I don't like the idea of me saying I have to go open this chest or whatever or kill this
Yeah.
guy. I kill him and then I stand there and I pull up a map and then I'm in a completely different
Yeah.
uh, city or whatever across, what I don't like that. I like actually
Go. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
yeah,
I get what
going
you're
and
saying.
doing that stuff. It feels more you're in the world. I guess.
And it's just
more.
like Red Dead too. It's like when you take a stagecoach, but that's your fast travel. But you're just just you take a stagecoach and it just passes time.
Yeah, and it's so it adds this layer to the game that I think you can't just quantify it, but it just adds this. It's not a real world, but it's a more believable.
Yeah.
Heavy. I can't think of the right word to describe it, but it's made Assassin's Creed so much better. And then you texting me about all the problems you have with the combat, and I'm just laughing because I'm like, I don't have any.
I know it's terrible because at first I was unsure of Assassin's Creed, then I was fucking loving it, and now like I started playing it again, and I'm like I'm using this. Why is it always haymakers? And that's the reason why it's so slow. It's always haymaker swings. And I'm like, I can't just do like little, like, I don't understand why they're forcing me to make these giant swings like that. I don't like. And then I can, I can dash really quickly. That's fine. I can dash fine. I can dodge.
That axe is made out of really heavy metal.
Then I can pull these two swords and then I can swing them just a little bit faster than the small axe like this. And I'm like, I don't know. I
haven't done that. I'm messing with the combat system, but I haven't. I saw the broadsword thing and him swinging around. I'm like, I don't want to play that. That doesn't look very fun to me.
Yeah, no, I do love that game because they have really cool and different. Well, I wouldn't say different, but they have really cool abilities that you can get. Like where you can grab the arrow, like that's really cool, and pick up a spear, throw back. Yeah. That's really cool. I really like that. It's not just your typical.
You kill somebody and then yeah, you kill somebody and then they're completely out. But then also if someone's because I got shot by an arrow and I caught it and I returned it, but then at that point someone had stepped and then another enemy stepped in between us and it hit that enemy. And I'm just like, so that's not locked to that person that's sending it over there.
Yeah.
And then there was other times where they were moving, they shot an arrow and I returned it. Then they didn't hide behind a haystack, but the way they were moving, they were behind a haystack and hit the haystack. I was like, that's cool. And then the arrow was on fire and of course it lit the haystack on fire. But it was the small little details and intricacies. I don't know if that's how I'm saying it right, but adds to a lot. So like I will hit a guy once or twice and then wait. I don't go in just blazing and hitting them. I like taking my time, dodging at the right time and playing a little more methodical. So I think that's the reason why I don't care about the axe swinging. And I'm pretty sure if I swung an axe, I'd be tired after 3 swings and just be done.
Now the hammers, I can understand. The hammers I get, like even just the handheld hammers. That I understand. That I get because they're fucking hammers. But I don't know. I just the fact that the haymaker. But another reason why and I just thought about this right now. Another reason why I absolutely love Control is because the combat with it never gets old. That will never ever get old.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. Well, I don't say never get old, but and then I enjoy not using the telekinesis a lot unless I need it. So I'll use my gun. Yeah, I like the duality of it instead of just using one thing over and over and over and over, which you can do. You can hide, grab something, throw it, hide again, wait till your meter fills, grab it, throw it, and then that seems boring. I want to pop, try to kill people. I'm getting hit. Now I can grab something. I want to.
Well, no, yeah, I like shooting until my ammunition is out, then switching to telekinesis. And then until that, and then by the time my shit runs out, my ammo's back.
That's fun. That's because you're thinking and you're strategizing, and then you obviously get a benefit from it. And as a gamer,
and then the enemies aren't fucking stupid. Like they'll rush you. They'll fucking, they'll flank you. They'll they don't just, they'll rush to cover. And I'm like, the combat is basically perfect. And then of course the sound effects. I mean, you know, pulling object to you, you know, hitting people. You hear the like, especially like metal or heavy objects. You hit someone, clank. You hear that fucking. You're like, Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Like you, and then you can hit multiple people, and then the physics of it. I'm like,
yeah, I hit someone with like this bookshelf or whatever, and just there's papers on like desk or something, and then like you see the papers come up and fall down. It's just those small little details that add that
just
like visceral impact. But yeah, I don't know why you're at, but I told you to on Assassin's Creed to switch to the dagger for quick little.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have to do that. Just being petty, just being a little girl.
No, I don't. I want to
to
swing an axe the same way I swing a little dagger, and then the dagger is not even a dagger; it's a huge.
Yeah, it's like a pretty big.
It's big, that big compared to him. I'm like, how can you not swing that thing, or you can swing that, but not an axe that's similar sizes?
I do wish there was more swords.
Yeah, there's just the broadswords, right? There's no actual.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, that's weird.
But you can use this.
They didn't use swords?
There was no short swords. The Roman Empire had a whole bunch of little short Spartan swords, and there's not any
Vikings
of those going around. But you can use those swords and throw them at people, like the swords the enemies have. Like they have normal sized swords, but you can't actually pick those up.
Vikings, they have a code. We don't use swords.
We use broadswords, but not the little short
we use
stuff.
Giant swords, but not the little stubby ones.
It's kind of a weird thing to have it. Like you have all these different weapons, but they're not in the game. And then the mace, I don't really.
That's a little weird.
I don't use that. But then the enemy that keeps swinging it and just slowly walks towards you, and I'm like, how do arrow?
Yeah.
And then I'm that like the difference. I enjoy that. The difference of someone coming in and hitting you, and then the guys with the spears. They're all different. You're like, okay, this is the guy with the spear, and then they all have different weak points. So you're like, okay, this guy who has that long sword and he comes at you like this or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he has different weak points, and I'm like, I love that.
Yeah, because it's not. It keeps the combat fresh. Like, because the combat is good. Like, especially I love using hammers because you just and you hear that you feel that like you're fucking smashing someone in the fucking face. It's just like that. That's where I started having a lot of fun. And like I would go to like really low enemies and just hit them once or twice and just fucking watch it just decimated. You know, I just like to do that sometimes in games. But
what level are you at?
I'm at like 190, I think almost 200 now.
Oh, okay. I'm a little ahead of you on that front.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. But there was time I took up
too much. I'm playing that game too much.
I don't, man. You got to keep playing Control because
I got to go back. Yes, I got to go back. Yes, I do.
What other have you gotten any other? Tonight. Okay, have you gotten any other abilities?
No, I got the telekinesis, and then there was one.
Like the dash is considered a.
Yeah, I got the dash.
Ability.
I got the dash, and then there was some locked room with a cube in it, and it was a puzzle to get in there, and I couldn't figure it out, and that's where I turned it off. I wasn't mad or anything. I just was it was late.
Cube. Was it an object of power? Do you know?
I think it was. It was an object of power, an OOP. But it was behind these people like transfixed on it. Like there was one guy at the glass and he was standing there, and then there's like people just standing behind me.
Yeah.
Just looking at it.
I won't tell you. Yeah.
I won't tell you. Please don't.
But see, that's another thing, man. Like, that's another thing about Control. I mean, I love that kind of supernatural shit. Like when it comes to other dimensions.
This game is right up your alley. This game.
Oh yeah. If anyone's watching who haven't, if whoever watches this, if you haven't heard of Control, if you haven't played Control, if you are into that supernatural shit, the other dimensions and all that, play the game. Just don't think about it. Just play the fucking game. Just
play the game.
It's free. Game
play
Pass.
the game at night in the dark. It's not scary, but it's just
but you get that eerie.
Yeah.
You're like.
There's always some weird sound. It's like.
Yeah, you're like, what is happening? What is? Yeah. That's what I love. But we should probably.
Cool. Yeah, you need to go to work. Thank you everybody for watching. This has been the 13th episode, I believe, of the Video Games and Nonsense podcast.
We're never gonna get famous.
First of all, I don't care about getting famous.
I know. If we had like 10 viewers, like
this is something we would do normally. So
yeah, we might as well just be doing it right now.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. 10 people.
It's funny.
It could be 5.
I clipped out that video of you last week freaking out.
I think it was of Gears of War, right?
Yeah. You got a few here too, so I'm gonna clip those out and put them on. But thanks for watching. I'm Chase Carter, and this is
Raymond Woods.
And we appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
I remember 20 years ago I was standing in